Hello, I hope everyone is doing well today, and today I have a match for you between myself and my opponent who's playing Raidraptors. He has 1000 rating, almost 1100, and he's playing like a full combo Raidraptor deck with a side of Kashtira cards. In our hands here I have Crow, Starter, Poly, or Super Poly, PHNI, and Gamma Burst. Not the greatest hand, but as you can see I only have one hand trap and a board breaker against the entire engine. Let's jump right into it. I guess this match I wanted to showcase what we could do with our Spright deck against towers, assuming they have other monsters on their side of the field. In this case, I guess, actually you'll see later on, I won't reveal too much, but yeah, this will be a full match, a best of 3. At this point here, I thought he was playing Kashtira because, it's just Fenrir, and then he summoned Tribute Lanius, which sends one from deck to graveyard. And I want to quickly point out here that I could have crowed the Mimicry during a main phase if this card sent to graveyard because it was sent there as turn. You can banish this card, add one Raidraptor from your deck to your hand, and that's a searcher. So I could have crowed it at this point here, but I didn't actually finish reading Tribute Lanius by the time Mimicry came out. And so I was like, alright, that's all good. Like, I'm not gonna... I could have told him to wait, to roll it back a bit, but it's all good. It's fine. It is what it is, right? I remember they have, like, at some point in a combo, they have to recur cards from the graveyard anyway, so I figured I'd crow something else, try something different, right? Otherwise, worst case scenario, like the quick play spell also targets monsters in grave and one on field to, like, link up. Not link up, Xyz up into a big boy. So we'll let it through. Strangulanius. Specials it out. Overlay. Raiders Knight. Roost searches the trap. The trap is an imperm, I believe. If you control Raidraptor monster, target one face up your opponent controls, blah blah blah. Okay, so it's basically either an imperm if you only control Raidraptor monster. Trusting that fast, Raidraptor monster. And then if you have an Xyz monster, it becomes what's the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend's effect, where you can just target one on the field and negate it. So it's an out to Dark Roller no more, I suppose. Not that that card's any good against this deck. And that's the quick play spell that, targets multiple one on field, at least, and then multiple in grave or field to rank up. Standard Raidraptor combo. I've played against this deck twice now. I'm going to turn this sound off so it's not just, playing over and over again. Got a little play actually. Going to Force Trick to search. This is more the chain block, I believe, and just an extra body for this deck. I remember in Flu, people play it just to chain block. He's going to go, okay, so here's my Crow target because he goes Rising Rebellion Falcon, target the Arsenal Falcon and Grave to copy its effect. So I decided to Crow that to stop that. And goes for Raiders going to summon back, Simorg to summon, Force Tricks to add one, adds Tribulanius, Foolish to dump. I'm not keeping track. Oh my god, there's so many birds flying around. But okay, the main point is we are going to try and break his board. Right, he has an imperm and he has the rank up spell, potentially cards in hand. I only know Rise Heart at this point. I don't think I knew either of these. Maybe he added one back, but I wasn't paying too much attention. I can assume one's probably a hand trap. But otherwise, yeah, it's pretty tough board to break. If you guys want like a quick puzzle, right? Have a look at this, see if you can spot the lethal. I guess the lethal is kind of determined by what the opponent does as well, so it might be a bit tough. But drawing Angler for turn there to discard off Super Poly is so insane. Like, these two cards go so well together, right? It's equivalent of like using like a Pearly quick play spell with the Angler in the Spright Pearly variant, except it feels even better because you're taking away 2 of their monsters for one of your own. And in this case, it's going to be a Gura, which is a +1 as well. Feels so good. Alright, let's see. So normal summon PHNI first. I expected him to like shotgun the quick play spell like immediately, which is why I asked for main one, right? Like, I went standby phase to give him an option to do something in draw phase instead of going directly to main one. He didn't do anything, so normal summon PHNI. So this is all good. As a Spright player, I tend to ask my opponent quite often, like whether or not my summons are good and if they're going to stay on the field, because obviously anyone who knows Sprites is going to remove that from the field. And being a 1.1k rating player, I'm assuming he knew perfectly well to do whatever, right? Couldn't bait anything else. I was like, okay, well, our next play has to be Super Poly here, because if I activate Starter, it kind of locks me in. I can chain it, but it just doesn't give me a lot of wiggle room. So I was like, okay, I'll just Super Poly now. All good. Can't respond to it. There's a Garura, and then next chain, Angler. Then come the two Beavers, and I'm going to link those off, Garura and Beaver, into the Sprint. So we can go Chainlink 1, Garura, Chainlink 2, Sprint. Now the reason why I do it in this order and not the other way around to protect the Sprint is because if I dump the Angler, it is perfectly fine, right? Like I'm not going to get a chance to use the Sprint again unless it bounces back or something. So typically I like to bait out an Ash here. Doesn't change too much, except I actually get to dump the Angler, right? Yeah, so I'll pretend that like I chained it poorly. Like normally people would go Sprint 1, Garura 2, but I realized like that really doesn't matter, right? I can just Ash on the next chain and the Angler actually goes to grave. Yeah. Okay, we draw into the Smashes of Garura, and then new chain, we go Angler effect to summon 1. The reason why I'm doing this is just to threaten to make a big boy, because I'm pretty sure this guy's aware that if I use Sprint plus any other 2 to make a gigantic plus Gamma Burst, I can run over any of his monsters. Go for Beaver here, and so on res, he's going to Fenrir to banish the Sprint, which makes sense, right? Like Pearly players do the same thing. Once you get the Sprint out, they're kind of threatened by the big body, and so they're like, okay, in order to stop you from getting over my tower, I'm going to have to banish it. Here I could have used the Smashes. Potentially would have been a better play to go for the Sprint effect, Chain Starter, or like Angler effect to summon and then Chain Starter if he's not responding. Just to get the Starter engrave for a Smashes to dodge, like at least clear something out of the field, right? So in this case, it would have been Starter, Chainlink 2 off whatever chain. And then on a new chain, if he decides to Fenrir, he can Fenrir target Sprint. We can chain Smashes, banish the Starter in graveyard, banish one of his back row to get rid of like one of his interruptions, right? But in this case, it was a bit too late, so that's something I could have done better. I believe at that point, I wasn't doing it just to play around Nib, so I wasn't actually going to do it until I had to make a play. So I had to think there. I was like, oh, do I want to chain Smashes? Maybe send the Gamma Burst from hand, like banish Gamma Burst from hand, or like banish the Starter. But I chose not to, let it go through, all good. Because we're not going to smack over his towers. Our alt win con, if you haven't put it together yet, is we're going to Mosquito his Fenrir like a couple of times, assuming everything goes through, right? We still have an imperm slash like card negated dodge, and we have a rank up to play around as well for a potential another tower. And correct me if I'm wrong, like the Raidraptor players, but I don't think 67. Yeah, he could have summoned this, right? Oh, right. It's because I got rid of his materials on field, and it has to be 1 on field. That's why I couldn't activate the quick play spell. Okay, I am a genius without even realizing. That's why they always end on a Force Tricks on field with a rank 4 and then a 5 here and a 4 in graveyard. That makes so much sense. Okay, I'm a genius. Nice. Cool. I'm a genius for getting rid of those bodies early is what I'm trying to say. We go blue effect, and then blue such as Carrot. He chose not to negate this. I'm assuming he's waiting for the Gigantic, which is something I read correctly, because I knew he had the Imperm. So on res, we summon the Carrot. All good. Now we make a Mosquito here first. This was a risky play. Like, this part here, I think, is what lost him the game, because I summon Mosquito, and he's like, wow, okay, he's gonna try Mosquito to KM me. And so he doesn't do anything just yet. He does it here, right? So I summon Gigantic. And the reason why I summon Gigantic second is because if I get impermed here, it's kind of not great. Sorry, if I get impermed before I summon Gigantic, it's not great. But if I get impermed here, A lot of people forget, right? And this is something that you guys should know as well. Gigantic's effect detaches off any Xyz monster you have. So if you control the Mosquito already, it's all good, right? You can detach off the Mosquito once you activate this effect, even if they remove this off the field. If they do imperm me here, I can go Smashes, banish Starter, banish Gigantic, still resolve the effect. Right, it's quite good. The thing is, it rarely comes up because typically you wouldn't have any other bodies aside from Gigantic to play around Nib. But maybe in like the grind game, it matters a little bit, right? Maybe like turn 3, you still have an Xyz, like a Melffy of the Forest or something on board, and you have something like Gigantic. Maybe they held it for some reason and impermed you there. You can dodge it, or if they like, I don't know, Ghost Ogre you or use any like sort of removal, like a Chimera, I don't know. I'm just spitting words at this point, right? If they remove the Gigantic off the field after you activate the effect, you can detach off Xyz. It's a long way of saying it. And there he goes. So activate the effect. He activates the Glorious Spright on the Ninja Mosquito. So at this point, I was like, okay, this is rough, right? Because that's my win con. If I let that go through, like I just lose. So we go and tribute the Gigantic with Carrot for cost. And because Gigantic still has to resolve, we detach off Mosquito to summon into Hyperion. Alright, so at this point, this Fenrir is sitting on 2.8k, I believe. So Fire, Wind, Earth, and Dark, 4 attributes on field. So the planet is boosting up by 400, so it's 28, which is 3 attacks for lethal, right? I think 26, is that the cutoff? No, 27. 27 is the cutoff. Yes, 27 is cutoff. 27 is a cutoff at 8,100 life points, assuming they haven't gained anything. A little bit lower here because he's taken some damage. So 2.5k, in fact, would have been lethal. So 3 attacks of 2.5k, which means I need 3 bodies regardless. So this Hyperion draw needed to draw me something good. And it came in clutch with a Spright Blue. But you already summoned a Spright Blue. Yes, I did, but I summoned it off starter. And I can still summon it from hand once. I just can't use the effect, right? And so we summon the blue. We go for battle phase. Mosquito in. Use the effect, attach for cost. Place a token on Fenrir, non-targeting. Takes 0 damage. Hyperion goes in. Ninja Mosquito burns for 24. And then plus 400 because of the attributes. I take more damage because of the boost as well, but that's all good. If you guys are going to both die by life points in the same battle, let's say like I'm on 2000 and he's on 2000 as well, right? If I attack in and burn him with Mosquito, the Mosquito burns him first and kills him first before the battle step resolves, before you calculate your own damage. So you'll always win in that scenario. Mosquito burns him for another 28. Blue goes in. I take the damage. Carrot goes in. Mosquito uses effect. Burn for 28. He had missed the feat. So it's pretty cool. Even though he had 2 towers on board, the Fenrir is the one that killed him. The almighty Fenrir, right? Plus the field spell. Without the field spell, he would have lived because he would have been on 24 alone. Alright, game 2. I decided to still showcase this one because game 2 was a really, really nice game as well. Like I was so close. Again, I'm spoiling it, but I was really close to popping off. Alright, he draws into 2 starters. Yeah, 2 starters and 2 hand traps plus a crossout. Crossout is like a nifty card in a combo heavy deck typically, right? For example, Synchrons, I used to consider a crossout. I played it at some point. It's a real like hit or miss, but somehow I could never resolve it properly, right? I feel like I always drew the one of hand traps that I ran going first when I played crossout. Like if I decided in draw just to cross it out later, I'd draw into it, and then even if they draw me, I couldn't do anything. So Raiders Knight effect to rank up. I try to imperm it, gets cross-outed. Sure. He summons Brave Strixia. Effect to search. Obviously, we're going to draw him here. And he ranks up again into Arsenal Falcon. I'm going to let the combo play out. Basically, standard combo, except he can't add anything to hand. So special some Grave, sure, that's fine. Link, yup. Rank up, yup. Sets the spell. 4 Strix can't add. And then he makes a big Rising Rebellion Falcon. This time I don't have the Crow to stop the target. That's all good. He targets the Arsenal Falcon again. Arsenal Falcons are going to detach to special out. Tribulanius effect. Send. Sends the Heal Eagle. Okay, I didn't read it last time, let's read it this time. You banish this card from the graveyard and target one Raidraptor in your graveyard. Okay, so you're just adding back a spell or trap, which is going to be the quick play spell, I'm assuming. Yeah. So then you can make another big boy. Goes into another Force Tricks, and the Force Tricks again is just for the quick play spell. I didn't realize at the time, now it makes sense. The quick play spell reads during the main phase, blah 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 blah. And so what do? You draw a Cyclone and you Cyclone that thing out of there during the standby or draw phase. Get that out. 50-50, but not really because I have two. Main one. So here he has no interruption except one card in hand. So I was like, okay, I have two towers to beat. Plus a 1400 attack monster, plus a 100 attack monster. So this alone was already kind of weird because I couldn't Mosquito him. I had to hit him like 20 times with the 1400 attack monster. And obviously the two towers are unaffected by other card effects, right? And so I thought of a really good plan, which, you know, would only be stopped if the last card in hand was a hand trap. Literally anything else aside from Ash or, not even Imperm because you would have said it, right? Ash or Veiler would have won me the game here. So I still want to showcase it because it is a really cool line. Some of the Angler, some of the Jet. Jet Searches, Gamma Burst. But we're not going for lethal, right? This card is a Link 2. That's pretty cool. So Gamma Burst boosts up the attack of all Link 2 rank 2 level 2s. So this will go up to 2800 attack, which means 3 bodies would be enough. And so I overlay here for Gigantic and pray to God, but no, it gets ashed. Gigantic could have gone into a blue, which could have searched me anybody, red or carrot. I can then link the blue with the Gigantic into a Sprint to dump Angler, to summon 2 Beavers. 2 Beavers go into the Mosquito. Mosquito attacks anything, puts a token on the Wise Tricks. We chain the Gamma Burst during a damage step. If we want to there, it doesn't really matter. And then we just start swinging into his Force Tricks over and over again to burn him for 28 times 3, which would be 8.4k. Would have been lethal. But unfortunately, I'm 1 body short, and so I conceded that one. He has a lot of recursion graveyard, I know that for a fact, and I couldn't get over the towers, so it was game there. Going first on the last game. So he just drew 0 hand traps, which is kind of rough, right? Couldn't do anything. A lot of starters. He drew, 2 Tribute Laniuses, 1 Noir Lanius, and 1 Vanishing Lanius. Once per turn during our main phase, the card is normal special on this turn, so it's an Ignition effect. Very slow. And then these two just dump, and this one is what? Also Ignition. You can target one, you control, add one of a different level. Yeah, so this needs another one on the field anyways. So none of these start except Vanishing. Alright, so we go for... I already forgot. Give me a second. I was not looking. Actually, no, I can tell. Starter into blue. Blue searches red. Yeah, because I had Jet in hand. That's right. So blue, search red during the draw phase. And then main phase 1, special the red, special the Jet. Obviously, red is there for a draw. If I do get drawed, it kind of sucks, but it's not too bad. So here I search smashes. Normally, I think I would probably go for a... probably go for a starter game 3, just in case they have, what do you call it, evenly matched, right? So I need the carried out. Otherwise, what other lines could I have gone for? I could have linked to Sprint here, Sprint Dump, but it plays into Nib plus any other hand trap, because if they're holding for Gigantic, like you just boned. So I went for the risky play, I went for Gigantic straight away. Obviously red can't negate Ash or Veiler if it's the only body on field. Risky, but it worked out. Summon Hyperia. So I summoned Hyperia because I really want to draw into an anti-spell. With 2 Nibs in hand, the starter play was probably not as good because it locks you in. So even if you go battle phase, for the evenly, I activate the starter at the start of battle phase to summon Carrot. I lock myself out of Nib, which would have been important. Rest of the combo standard. Summon Sprint, Sprint of Angler, summon 2 Beavers, into Mummy, search Caddy. Set the Imperm, set the Smashes, end phase, declare the Caddy effect. and pass. So he draws for turn. Just another Noir. Okay, that's why his hand was so bad. I didn't see it until now, right? So he goes main phase, activate planet. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not getting evenly, which is a really good gamble, I suppose. I don't know if he put it in. But with these combo decks, you typically always insta-win if you go first. But if you're going second, it's usually really rough. So let's continue. Searches Fenrir. Gets trolled here. And you guys know the Fenrir interaction with Caddy and Mummy, right? It's amazing. So Caddy bounces to hand, searches a beast. It can be anything. But even if it doesn't search, you can still bounce to hand because you're on the draw. You can't search. You can still bounce to hand and then just lock his Fenrir. So I did that. Caddy to hand. On res, if they decide to Fenrir something, it'll always be chaining to Melffy of the Forest. So it doesn't matter. I'll just get the Fenrir anyways. Whatever he targets will be invalid. So it doesn't do anything. I guess if he ever clears the board somehow and summons another Fenrir, he can activate that banish effect again. Doesn't do anything, he's aware. So we'll get Forest effect, targeting the Fenrir to negate it. And he summons Vanishing Linius. And game 3 was not as interesting. I just go smashes here for game because he doesn't have anything else. He could have made a Typhon, but I can just bounce it back with Sprint. He could have also linked off into whatever, but again, Sprint just removes everything. Yeah, alright. Well, that's going to be the entire video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.